So you moved to London, or
Yeah.
moved to England.
Yeah, not London, but outside.
You moved to England.
Yeah.
You join up with some new entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You start a similar business.
Yeah. So I said, okay, we can keep selling these deals one at a time, and they're big and they're profitable, but let's kind of raise the profile of the business so more people will know us, and we started doing conferences and marketing things. And by the way, they didn't want to do that because they thought that was cheesy. I said, well, I'm here now, you got to do it, because that's what I do. So that was good.
How big was the company when you joined?
I joined it, it was 1.5 million, almost 2. And not all of that, because it was a reseller, so we had to pay people, you know, to license their stuff, so.
And what was the growth curve of that business?
We were growing, it was about 20% year over year, and I got there and we kind of did a big jump. Because it was a marketing thing, you know, you have to get some visibility, thought leadership. You know, this wasn't ads and silly stuff, this was thought leadership around our space.
So this magic $10 million number again.
Yeah.
Now, do you have equity in this company?
You know what? I did not.
Okay. So once again.
So too bad. So I'm just saying, I had a lot to learn. So 2 times I made people rich. Isn't that funny? I mean, I look back and I think it was all good. I mean, remember I said I wasn't money motivated until I realized I made 2 people very well.
So you're in the UK.
Now I decided to come back home.
And what motivated you to come back home?
Weather. And so we came back. I brought someone with me, one of the partners, who at that time I had a personal relationship with. So I said, look, you can come or you can stay here, whatever. But I'm going back, and I'm going to start over. And this time I stayed, again, the same business. I've been in the same business since 1984. Even today, 2000, whatever year it is, Q4, 2012, I'm in the same kind of business this whole time. I've just morphed it from different phases, right? But we came back and started again, another one.
This time you had equity.
Oh yeah, yes, 50%.
And so what was the genesis of that business? So you've been through 2 businesses that you essentially grew for the founders from $1 million to 10 million.
Right. We decided to be very niche, to take a path that was not crowded, right? So we let everyone have their space around. We didn't want to like compete with the major players. So we picked a high-profile, high-value place, tightened the IP down, really raised the quality of the delivery, got some technology tools to support it, and we just stayed uber focused. We would not, when people would say, well, I remember when you used to teach negotiation skills, would you come teach that? No, I don't do that anymore. I remember when you used to teach coaching at Oracle, would you come teach a coaching class? And sometimes we needed the money, by the way. We were completely bootstrapped. We had no outside capital. So all of these businesses, we owned 100%, right? But you could do that because we weren't having to pay Ruby engineers like we have to these days. But the point is, tighter focus, more deliberate role and responsibility, right? And not allowing ourselves to go do things we used to do, but having to create a perception about this new thing we did, which was still expensive.
And what was the distribution of roles between you and your partner?
He was a sales guy, and he was a great sales guy. And also he had a good sense of strategy relative to the certain accounts we would want. So he would mile mark those, and I did everything else. Meaning, I mean, we had other people, but like my role was, okay, the marketing of it, and mainly it was through blog posts and writing. It wasn't like ads or anything. We didn't have that kind of money. And I was the relationship person. So he would find the prospect, close the deal, and then I would have to really understand the situation so I could deploy the team to do the work and then make sure the customer was happy, because in our business, everything was about reference selling, right? So that was how we did it.
What were some examples?
And again, coming from the South, you know, preparation, you always prepared, you know, before you did anything. I mean, that was what my dad and my mother both taught me, like lots of preparation. So you had to have to read all their partner programs, which were boring as anything, right? And then you'd have to download their product, and then you'd have to talk to different people, find customers that had used the joint solution. But it goes back to this pricing and packaging mind I have. I mean, I always thought in solution sets, and so it made sense that not one company could do it all on their own, that if they would go to market, they'd have to use lots of different piece parts. And so that's just how I was wired. But lots of prep, lots of prep.
And what was the path of this company?
So, in 2.5 years, we got more efficient as time went on. So in 2.5 years, almost 3, I guess, we went from 0 to 7 million. All hours, virtual team, we had 5 employees, and the rest of people that delivered, so they were 1099 contractors. And so I guess that last year we were projecting to do about 10 the next year, and I just said, wow, for 2 people on a dog, that's a lot. Right? And it was a lot. We traveled all over the world all the time, and it was really a lot of work. So then, the next question would be, and so what did you decide to do?
Yeah, that's the question.
Because I think that's the,
smile.
so that's the, I mean, I think if you're thinking of growing a company, be it venture-backed or bootstrapped or through customer financing or whatever you're going to do, I mean, there comes that point when you say, okay, is there a next step here, right? And so now we're at 1990, I forget, 8, 7, probably 8. And I've been doing this work since 1984. Which was very, very, you fly around, you have very complex clients, although they're very similar, Ariba, HP, I mean, you're getting them, right? So you kind of know how they work, so you're pattern matched pretty well. But then I said to my partner, who by then was my husband, I said, now look, I don't think we're good at scaling. I said, you can sell, and I can make all the other stuff happen around it, but I don't know, and we have a lot of product then, you know, we have a lot of IP. I said, I think we need to go partner up with a firm that has already scaled, and so they have more distribution, they've already set up a certain system, because that wasn't necessarily our sweet spot. So we built a lot of product, we packaged it, and we closed deals, but everything around it we weren't that good at. And he was horrified that I would suggest that. That was suggesting that and we weren't good enough. I'm like, what's the problem? Like, let's jump into something that's bigger, and the combination of the two, gosh. But you know, that was just, it made him insecure, which I understood, but not as much as he did. I said, no, look, do you want to make the call, or do you want me to? And I'm not an M&A person. I said, we're going to get this done. Because I knew exactly who we should be part of, right? Because our industry had consolidated a little bit, so I went for it. They're competitors. I said, they are not. Stop it. They're not competitors.
And you knew the people.
I knew them.
Did you have a relationship with the entrepreneurs?
They had tried to buy us one other time, and you know, of course, we were so important we couldn't be bought then. And so we were ready. So I made the calls, which looks like a sign of weakness, but it's not, because 1 + 2 = 5. Because the story gets better, as you know. Because then our combination plus their combination equaled a $50 million company that was on a very high growth curve, right? And we closed our first, it was like a $5 million deal with IBM. And then you've got scale around you, right? And of course, when we were there, so was Siebel. And then there you go. And so at the time, we solved problems that Siebel Systems had. This was 1999. And I mean, to be acquired as a services business, sometimes you say, oh, well, those aren't very good, we don't want to pay very much. But in our particular case, because of our industry cred and our IP, and we'd already integrated with CRM systems, you know, that as boring as they are, we'd already integrated with Phantom and Clarify and blah, blah, blah. Siebel was just another one, so why not them? And we had developed a lot of expertise around channels and alliances, which are very important to the technology industry in that. So it was a win. Who would have thought, right? So we owned it 100%, you can do the math. It was a stock deal, not a cash deal. Stock is good, by the way, so don't be bothered by it. Nothing wrong with it, especially if it's worth something. And I just remember thinking, and my husband was like, oh, well, I'm not sure. I said, be sure, we're on it, we're doing this. Follow me down this road, we're doing this. And so we worked as a combined company for about, so we closed that transaction in February of '99. End of that year, December 30th, '99, because it was a pretty good deal, we closed again, and we were then part of Siebel. And I loved it.